Okay, I know you have one. No? Where you get there? Am I on? Okay. I'm very happy to
We're all on.
Screen, is that okay? It's not showing anything at all. If we mess with it, it might, at least there would be audio.
How about? Yeah.
No, you're not even on there. Yeah, whatever you're.
How about now?
Now it's showing directly on you, so I think it does have to be turned on.
Hi, everybody. It's set on stationary, so it's just going to be audio tonight.
Okay.
I think just the audio is going to work. It's directly facing the tape, and I'm not touching it. So, oh, the audio is still there.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming out this evening. I hope you are enjoying our new digs. They look really nice. I want to give a special shout out and thank you to our Madam Clerk, who was the project leader on this initiative, and I would say she did a marvelous job. It looks really nice. Didn't cost too much, right? Didn't cost too much, hasn't been done in over 50 years. So we are most appreciative, and hopefully you all will find it easier to reach us by coming up the aisles and that you are comfortable with your chairs. Okay, so thank you. And with that, I'll open up the meeting. Statement of proper notice. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Lawrence Township Council being held on Tuesday, October 7th, 2025.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I sent you. Yeah, I don't miss it.
Okay. We'll just have one moment. We have, okay. We'll get that shortly. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Lawrence Township Council being held on Tuesday, October 7th, 2025, has been provided in the posting of the annual meeting schedule of said council in accordance with Section 13 of the Open Public Meetings Act. Said notice was forwarded to the Trumptonian, the Times, and the Princeton Packet on December 19th, 2024. I'm going to pause for a moment. I need to address a member of the community. Ma'am?
I'm gonna write her a note, just I'm gonna step out for 1 second.
Okay.
You wanna come out with me?
All right. So we're just going to take a brief pause, if you don't mind, while we address something in the public.
You don't have an accommodation.
Can you put
I
down?
will.
Okay.
I'm Jackie. When I was public speaking, can you let me know? She couldn't even put captions on TV for me.
Just for the record,
What, did they go on record?
yeah. It was emailed to her that I had the IT people out here today to look at it. Our YouTube, it does not have that ability at this time. but when we redo our video system, it will.
So, just to, just to address the matter that's taking place, I know that we don't have a visual today, is that correct?
Our IT person is working on
On the visual. So we're having some technical difficulties today with regards to our visual YouTube channel. And also, it's been brought to our attention about captions, closed captions being an option for members of our community. So as that has been brought up, that is something that we can definitely discuss, and we should definitely look to accommodate. It should be flexible. So we will be working on that. Okay, and I understand there's a member in our audience who would like to address the council regarding that matter at a public participation time. So that's just a brief pause. And then now, if we are ready,
And I did, try to get an interpreter.
okay, so we're working on it.
She was not
Available.
able to be with us.
Okay,
She's unavailable.
and thank you for bringing that that matter to our
I can't
attention.
hear a word, I can't hear a word.
Okay,
I'm 100% deaf.
okay, I can hear you though. I can hear what you're saying.
Are you speaking to me though?
Mhm.
I'm fully deaf, let's not discriminate against me in a council meeting. I can't hear a word.
So,
I gave plenty of notice. She could have put the captions on the screen.
our screens currently are not working, but we will definitely look to address this immediately. Because it's something that we should definitely be accommodating not for everyone. Okay? If we could now, we will have our inspiration.
We have to do that.
Can we do it again?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. May we carry out our work at this meeting in a just, honorable, and sincere manner, always bearing in mind our duties and continuing to keep Lawrence a wonderful community in which to live. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbin.
Here.
Mr. Kanaki.
Here.
Ms. Terry. Here. Ms. Sanchez.
Here.
Mayor Farmer.
Here. And now we have a special proclamation for the 2025 Community of Lights Day proclamation. I will read that. Whereas it is the policy of Lawrence Township to recognize organizations that have contributed to the overall benefit of the community, and whereas Unity, formerly Women's Space, founded in 1977, has demonstrated a unique ability to provide comfort, support services, crisis intervention, and safety to women, men, and children who are victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and strangulation. Whereas Unity, former Women's Space, in the belief that peace begins at home, has asked Mercer County community to join them in their struggle against violence by participating in their annual Communities of Light project. And whereas Unity has provided emergency shelter in secure locations and comprehensive services for victims of domestic violence since 1977. Sexual assault since 2002, and strangulation since 2024, for more than 130,204 women, 17,782 children, and 9,397 men. Additionally, Unity has assisted more than 332,296 hotline callers for over the last 48 years. And whereas Unity in November of 2025 changed its name to show growth as an organization and their commitment to inclusivity. While honoring women's faith legacy, the new name reflects their mission of fostering unity, empowerment, healing for survivors from all backgrounds. And whereas Lawrence Township commends Unity for their efforts to bring an end to the cycle of interpersonal violence imposed on women, men, and children. And whereas as Mayor of Lawrence Township, I urge that each and every household demonstrate their support of the concept that peace begins at home by placing luminaries along their driveways and sidewalks on Monday, October 27, 2025, as a visible symbol of that support. And whereas the proceeds from the Communities of Light 2025 will be used to fund vital services for victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, strangulation, and human trafficking. Now therefore, I, Patricia Farmer, Mayor of Lawrence Township, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim October 27, 2025 as Communities of Light Day, and hereby honor Unity on its many accomplishments and wish them continued success with Communities of Light in the years to come. Peace begins at home. It should shine throughout communities. Dated December 7, 2025. Thank you, Madam Clerk, for preparing this for us today. And now we will have the first opportunity for public participation, which will be for 5 minutes.
No, Krista.
I'll roll with that.
I go now. You go now.
Hello, everybody. My name is Deborah Dorner. May I sit down? I am here tonight as a member of the Friends of Colonial Lake Park for 2 reasons. One of them, a very positive reason. We would like to just take the time to thank the old and new board members and everything that took place a few years ago to make a nice positive change at the chef parcel. I personally went out one day and was surprised to see that the parking lot was gone. And then the next week I was surprised to see how the parking lot went from black to green. The walking path going down to the new walking path that goes out to the highway. And the shoreline restoration that's happening. It's amazing. And Lawrence Township has had a lot to do with that, and we thank you. But the one sad thing that I have to say is we've discovered that the New Jersey Department, the DEP, the Fish and Wildlife Division, plans not to stock the lake in 2026 with trout. They had gone around and interviewed 22 fishermen. And out of the 22, 11 said they're happy with the fishing experience. Maybe they don't use the right bait, who knows? So with that in mind, they decided to send the trout swimming someplace else. They want to send it, I don't recall the name of the lake, but they want to send the trout to a different lake next year. So knowing what has happened to make all the beautiful improvements and all of the time and effort that has gone into making those beautiful improvements. Now we have a concern, not only for the fishermen, because some fishermen do enjoy the lake, and there are many fishermen that come from all over. Once again, we can have people coming in on the bus on Route 1. Kids come on their bicycles. And they've been fishing there for years. My son did it many, many years ago. So our concern about them choosing not to stock the lake is not only the fishermen, but the ecosystem. we have quite an abundance of wildlife that actually does catch and eat the trout. I had the pleasure of being out a few Saturdays ago with an elementary school from the neighborhood who were on a nature walk with their families and some teachers. And these kids actually got to see, the eagle sitting up in a tree. They watched, and the thing put on a perfect show at the perfect time. These kids saw the eagle come down, snatch a fish out of the lake, and fly off and eat it. So here are these young kids who were armed with binoculars and magnifying glasses, enjoying being outside, being with their families, not looking at telephones, no screens. And they walked all the way around the lake, and they went around so far that they came back to the tree where the eagle was sitting. And it's not just eagles, there's cormorants and blue heron and many other things that feed off of these trout. So we have, one of our members put another change.org petition out. We had a petition that we had at our festival. I have it here with us tonight. We had our fall festival and we had quite a few signatures, and people are very interested in maintaining the quality of life at the park. I also had the pleasure of meeting Shirley Turner the other night at a function, and I did get the opportunity to mention it to her. So planning on following up with her. But we're kind of interested to know if we can get any support and backing from the people who started making this project so amazing to begin with. You saw the kids.
Oh, yeah.
They were there, and they go every other month for the entire school year. And as the season progresses, they will stop along the way and have science experiments to do. And these are K-3 kids. So,
Thank you for your comments. Yep.
so I don't know if there's anything that we could do. We could talk to somebody, meet with someone. We would really be appreciative of any input. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman.
Mayor, I'll just say that hats off to Ms. Garner and the ability to sort of corral a bunch of kindergarten, lower elementary school kids all the way around a mile-long loop of the lake. So bravo to that. And yeah, it's something special to see the eagle out there. I think we'll be in conversation about how we can reach out to both our legislative assembly members and senator as well as Steve. So thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm here to express my appreciation to council on behalf of myself as an individual, 45-year resident of Lawrence Township. Your attention to the information provided by the task force is much appreciated. And I really am respectfully expressing my gratitude for everything that you've done to allow that to happen. And I was particularly gratified in picking up the Lawrence Gazette the other day to find that every candidate is using the community center as a platform for their positions. And so it's obviously an important issue. And there are two things I thought everybody had in common, which I was particularly excited about. One was everyone seemed very appreciative and wanted to respect the task force work, which is very heartening to me because I know those folks put a lot of effort into what they did. And the other was voiced in different ways by different people, but it was the idea, I think, I would say, Councilman Bobbitt said, that's while being mindful of the fiscal impacts of the municipal budget. And so that's what I want to talk a little bit about as we go forward. You're probably aware, but many people in the audience are probably not aware, that the task force report has a section called strategic partnerships. The value of strategic partnerships is that it is a fiscal answer to the idea of having a community recreation center which accomplishes what the community expressed in the task force report. And the reason for that is simple. Partners bring resources. So for example, the school district brings personnel. If we need computers or we need people to help teach computer science to adults, the school district has those resources. And in fact, they've offered to participate. So we have the idea that we can actually create resources through partnerships. Many of you know, and several of you have said that I engaged quite a bit with Every Child Valued. Every Child Valued writes grants, brings money, tutors kids, and brings resources to the community. Every Child Valued is growing very rapidly. We're getting more and more support from this outstanding school district with a tremendous and outstanding school leaders. And we are going to be growing. So we're going to be needing space. But we bring, with that space, we bring resources. We bring personnel, we bring teachers, we bring equipment and materials, supplies. And so there are lots of opportunities available through that. So I know that you've had a chance to look through this section on strategic partnerships. I want to bring it to the attention of the public as well. It's really a blueprint for how we can be fiscally responsible and provide the community with everything it's really asking for. I haven't had a chance to ask anybody for questions. If I have another minute, that's on my time clock, I'd be happy to field any questions if you have any. All right, well, I'll be here until you guys make a decision, so you have plenty of time to ask me questions. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis.
I don't know if my voice is gonna be loud enough, I can't hear my voice. I did seek an accommodation for tonight's meeting under the ADA and the New Jersey law against discrimination. I felt that if the municipal clerk didn't have enough time to get an interpreter, they could at least put captions on the screen. I think those are free, it's a free service. But in any event, I came to this township around the end of December 2024. The state's mandated public accommodation posters were not up. These posters came out on August 1st, 2022. So when I came here in the end of December, more than 2 years had gone by, I had to do the advocacy. I didn't physically tap the posters up on the wall, but I had to advocate. They put one poster up in the beginning. When you walk in, it's not even at eye level. And when you walk in the front door, it's not even up in Spanish. Tonight I noticed it's outside that door for the first time. For the first time, I see it up at the police department. The state can't list every place that's a public accommodation, but it does say including police department. That poster at the police department didn't go up until after 3 years these posters came out. The truth of the matter is, even when people do put the posters up and are mandated, it's not an option, it's mandated. I've seen cases where people put a poster up, but a poster can't work magic. How people comply with this law, that's just as important as having a poster up. I look at everybody, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I say to myself, why was it I that had to advocate to get the posters up in the building? I don't even work for the township. I look at all these people. How could anybody be less capable than I speaking up and getting a poster? And I suppose that people really don't pay attention to the state's New Jersey law against discrimination, even though it's entrenched in employment, public accommodation, housing, and medical facilities. The other reason I'm here is that your police department does not comply with the ADA Title II nor the New Jersey law against discrimination. I am not getting equal, effective, and non-discriminatory access to the police department's program service activities. Now, it's true, if I wanted to try and make a meeting in advance, he does set up for an interpreter. But I'm talking unseen. Police don't even understand the concept of what is a public accommodation. All they have to do is go to a business. The business says, we don't want to serve her. Please throw you out. And this is just not how it works at a place of public accommodation. There's no such thing. When you have all these protected categories, the trespass for absolutely no reason at all, the police should be doing what they can to support these laws. They're not helping the township, they're not helping the businesses. Trespassing individuals who are under protected category, saying for no reason at all you can't go service it. And the police should be filling out bias supplement forms for me, and they got it. I did try to get a meeting with the ADA coordinator, or send him an email September 27th, and he didn't email me back. So I decided, whatever it is that I think is wrong here, I'm gonna find a different way to deal about it. I'm not gonna meet with the ADA coordinator. I'll figure out a different way, but it's not compliant.
The document, the poster?
It is posted.
Ma'am, I have 100 decibel hearing loss. I can't hear. I'm leaving. I can't get any meaningful participation. Poster, finally up outside there, finally up at the police department.
Can I see it? Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me, those are my copies. I go, police will go to a business. A police will go to a business. They'll have either no poster or an outdated poster. An outdated poster is like no poster. Police only serve the businesses. They do not serve somebody who has a disability, who's trying to get access to goods and services. And I tell a business, I'm deaf, a restaurant, just go write on paper, and they don't. The police should, at the very least, be filling out a bias supplement form. Remember, the New Jersey law against discrimination prohibits discrimination and harassment in places of public accommodation based on actual or perceived. Your police officers are telling me, oh no, you're not being biased. They're not deaf. They don't understand discrimination against the deaf. Actual perceived, they only stick up for the businesses.
Thank you, thank you.
So, yes, so I guess so let me set this record straight. That she came to us over a year ago. I got a new bulletin board put up on the side of the board, and it has been posted for well over a year. I also asked for an ADA compliance officer, which is now with you, which we adopted and we have, which is Greg Whitehead. We have information on our website. I have been in contact with Ms. Abbott. because, I let her know that I brought in our IT person, to look at our, aisle. We're gonna get a system, we're gonna get it where it's going to be, where we will be able to have closed captions, and then we'll be able to, be in compliance. I also told her tonight that we would not be able to do it because the interpreter could not come, was not available for this evening. And in addition, we couldn't, when, our IT person checked, we were unable to get it through YouTube on live stream. So I did send her an email to that effect. Yesterday, our police department met with her. They had an interpreter, and she didn't show up. Interpreters are quite expensive. In addition to that, Greg Whitehead sent her an email on a Saturday at 5:13, letting her know that he would meet with her. And he also copied our manager on that. And then, I don't know if it was delivered or not delivered, but I sent her an apology if it wasn't delivered, because she said she doesn't have her own phone, she uses a public, way of communicating with us. I communicated all week with her, up until before this meeting. So my apologies to her, and we do everything we can to comply. Okay?
Thank you for that, clarification, Nikki. And, you know, it is something which is brought to our attention.
Oh,
So it is something that
And
we
we're
could
lucky.
definitely address. Closed caption is not something that's, you know, it's a pretty easy fix, and we can, definitely get there. But I just want to make sure the posters were posted, and the police department did, reach out to her, as did, Mr. Whitehead, who is our ADA compliance officer. Okay, thank you for that.
Good evening. My name is Melina Vinham, and I am a lifelong resident of Lawrence Township. I am here today on behalf of a coalition of environmental, residential, and local advocacy organizations with respect to the Williams Transco Northeast Supply Enhancement Pipeline Project, also known as MESI. MESI would bring fracked methane gas to Long Island, New York, and MESI also calls for a massive 2-engine gas-fired compressor station in Franklin Township, New Jersey, and would cut more than 23 miles through the Raritan Bay and connect to the Rockaway Lateral in the ocean off of Long Island. On June 20th, 2025, Coalition member Elizabeth Rodell sent a copy of the resolution passed by South Brunswick Township opposing the construction and installation of the proposed compressor station and opposing the entire pipeline project. Since then, Elizabeth and Polly Chakravarty, another member of the coalition, have requested multiple times that Lawrence Township adopts a resolution opposing the proposed compressor station and the pipeline project. As of September 2025, 20 towns across New Jersey have passed resolutions opposing the MESI pipeline. We request that the resolution will be on the agenda for the next council meeting, and I urge you all to vote against the MESI pipeline. Thank you. And in my remaining time, I would definitely like to hear if there's a current status on whether there will be the resolution on the next council agenda.
Thank you. We haven't discussed the agenda for the next council meeting, but, we can definitely talk about it this evening. Yeah.
Thank you. I included my email address on the public participation list, so if you have an update, feel free to reach out.
Will do, thank you.
Good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fred Vereen, 26 Fred Vereen Junior Road. I'm not going to spend much time talking to you tonight. Chris has done a good job, and I think we have some more folks who are going to talk tonight. But what I do want to do, I've made a package for each person. I made a package for you tonight also. And there's 4 items in this package. One is the pictures of the Little Center when we were refurbishing it. And another picture is of the neighborhood center under the present center under construction. It was the contractor who started building the center applied for Chapter 11 while it was under construction. And the building set for it's set for almost a year before we started construction again. So, and the other items in here is just some history of things that I've written about the neighborhood center. And I was told that your history helps you to move forward to where you want to go. So I think the more council knows a little bit more about history, then you'll get a better understanding of how what Chris alluded to is how people come together to do things. And it was the people from throughout the town, not just folks in Eggers Crossing, but people and organizations that help build Eggers Crossing Village, help build the community of Eggers Crossing, and supported many thousands of families that have gone through that in the past 50 years that we've been in existence. So there are resources and there are people out here in this community who are just waiting to help, to fill a need. And there is a need, and it'd be a greater need as this town has become more diverse than when I was a kid. So with that, I'm going to, I think there's enough packages for council people and manager and the attorney. And I do hope you take this stuff and read it. Don't let it gather dust. And it's worthwhile learning how people from throughout this town made all this possible. And I do wish you folks would come down and really walk through Eggers Crossing as you see it today. Take time to do that. Take time to walk through the village. These are, people said that the village wouldn't last 6 months. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary. And you look at Eggers Crossing. And you look at Eggers Crossing. When I grew up in Eggers Crossing, it was dirt roads. People had toilets in the backyard, including my family. People lived in substandard housing. And the health officer was on our committee, our housing committee. And he was asked a question, how come you don't condemn the houses? He said, well, we can't condemn the houses, where are we gonna put the people? We took it upon ourselves to build 100 units of low and moderate income housing. That's a story within itself. So, people are out there, as I say, repeating myself, people are out there waiting to help do whatever we need to do. And I mean professionals. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Hi, everybody. Good evening, happy Tuesday. My name is Integra Feliciano. I am a resident here at Lawrence. I brought my mom here with me. She has been a resident in Edwards Crossing area for over 28 years. So I grew up here. I am the treasurer on the board of Every Child Value. And before I was a board member, I was a part of ECV, Every Child Value. So I grew up in the program, the after-school program, the summer camp. When I got to high school, I received multiple scholarships for college. I received a laptop from the program when I needed one for college. And then when I came home from college, they provided me with a summer job as a camp counselor, a senior camp counselor. And then at that neighborhood center, I taught students, tutored students there as well. I graduated from Montclair State University with a bachelor's degree in biology and minor in Chinese studies. Went on to do my master's degree at Georgetown University, an accelerated master's program. But I say all that because my education started at that neighborhood center. I went to preschool there. My grandmother was a preschool teacher there, Audrey Feliciano. So I have a picture too of her. Yeah. Right. And when I graduated in that gymnasium at the Lawrence Neighborhood Center. And I have a graduation picture. Not only that, but I went back, like I said, I tutored kids at that program, the Destinations program. And that was a safe space for children who, if their parents went home from work, they got to go to that program. They learned new skills. We taught students how to cook so that when they were home, they'd have alternative healthy snacks to make. We did nature walks with them. And this was also a space to, like I said, I have my mom here with me. My mom and dad have been residents for over 30 years. They've been married for 25, and between the two of them, they have 11 children. Yeah. When they got married, they didn't have a lot of money to do a big old fancy wedding, but they wanted a space where they could commemorate their marriage and share their union. And so they got married in that neighborhood center too, and I have a picture. I have one great.
Thank you.
So this space is an all-encompassing space for us. It's important for our community. And being a part of Lawrence, I know that there is no shortage of recreational spaces for Lawrence, but this particular neighborhood center is important to us. It's important to ECV. It's important to our community. And so not only does Every Child Value need access to this space so that we can continue to provide resources for students in the community, but we need increased access. So I thank you so much for your time tonight, for allowing me to voice my opinion. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr.
There's one more here. Then another over there.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations for your success.
Thanks.
Good evening. Good evening. I was greeted with, you have a tough act to follow. Right, of course, but, my name is Kaya King Green. I'm not a resident of Lawrence, but I am an educational leader and a community, leader in Lawrence at the Every Child Valued, Center. And so I am the executive director there. October 1st marks my first year, which I'm really excited about. And Mr. Vereen shared that at the Edges Crossing Village, they just celebrated the 50th year. And that stood out to me because I just celebrated my 50th year on October 2nd, right? So it's just really an incredible time for me. But what is even more incredible is continuing and working to continue this incredible legacy that, as you just heard from Integra, with the program of Every Child Valued and working so closely with the Lawrence Township Public Schools to ensure students such as Integra have the resources and the support they need at such a young age. What we're excited to celebrate at ECV right now is the partnership between ECV and Lawrence Township Public Schools growing and strengthening to the fact that they are bringing on a third destination coach, and also looking for us to expand our services to students. And so what the real impact of what that looks like for us at ECV, which we don't just service the families of Edwards Crossing Village, but we also welcome as our mission all of the children of Lawrence Township. But it calls for us to increase our numbers around student attendance. And we have about 100 students in that area, and we are increasing numbers, but there's only so many hours in an evening, right? Students are already at school all day. And so when we have our after-school program from 3:30 to 5:30 for our K through 6th grades, we're looking at planning into the evening for our middle school and high school students. When we had access to the neighborhood center, there was time to run, programming at the same time. So high schoolers, middle schoolers, elementary school students were at the center in Edwards Crossing Village, and the older students were at the Lawrence Community Center. So that's my most recent experience. I haven't been here for a long time, but I've experienced a partnership with Lawrence Township Public Schools strengthening and expanding through our collaborative work. And I think Chris really spoke about the power of partnership, strategic partnerships, specifically in this administration during this time as it relates to, fiscal management. We do bring in our own resources, but as it relates to capacity and space, we need the space. We need the space to serve, not just obviously the Edwards Crossing Village, but a part of our mission intentionally is that we serve, and we already do. A lot of our students that are a part of our center are not Edwards Crossing Village residents, but they are Lawrence Township residents. And so today I request that that you ensure, as a council, that you ensure that the Lawrence Community Center's policies and practices fully include all children, and they fully include
partners that will continue to also meet that mission around serving all children. So thank you.
Good evening, my name is Ken Kiernan. First, I want to thank Dr. Wood for doing what he did for this report, and Martha for being the secretary, for pushing everybody to get things together for the full year that she's been involved. I do have some questions based on the transparency and what I've read in the report. Because actually on page 6, actually one of the pieces was transparency and accountability, operate with openness, share outcomes, and continuously seek feedback to improve programs. I've got to admit that, and Dr. Woolley knows this, that I did call out that was it best led by Dr. Woolley if there is a conflict of interest with Every Child Matters. He's proven to himself that he's been very fair and very fun, and what he's been tasked to do by the mayor's council, or mayor's piece. But I've got some questions and have to take back just to understand so we can fully look at this on a full level before we make decisions and just do it. One of the recommendations was based on clear community input. We recommend creation of a representative body leveraging strategic partnerships by key stakeholders accountable to the council to create a plan for governance and staffing and implementation of this. So the recommending a governing council, a governing body that is separate from Lawrence Town Council. Is it under our guidance and our form of government? Can that happen? Can you form a governing body to run a township-owned building outside of town council? So just questions, for input. Okay. Most of these things that I do agree with, we have to keep every child value in our communities. Some of the pieces that I do wonder is within that, have we looked at Lawrence Township schools now that they're providing preschool for 3 and 4-year-olds, if that conflicts or if it's still needed? I don't know, because that is available to every student now and not just others. But a certain amount of people with teachers. So the shared responsibility. So again, going back to transparency, I've done some research, and there's not one town within New Jersey that you can have a council or a shared building where a town department runs in that building alongside of a volunteer organization, nonprofit organization. Are we recommending that, or are we recommending, like Franklin Township does it, where a nonprofit takes it over and we just have a manager there like they do in Ewing? Just questions. Forming strategic partnerships as well. Are we being asked, is the town asking, or this recommendation being asked for the township to do the form of this, to provide those, or the nonprofits themselves? I wish that we got more responses from this. It was only 159, which is about 0.5% of our total population. And of that, 42% of that population didn't even know what was going on there. So I feel we should have taken a little bit more time to get more surveys to make better judgments and better recommendations. Again, I have to understand what a decentralized governance model is, and if that's even legal within the township to take on. So other than that, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Karen, for your insightful questions.
evening, Martha Friend. Actually, I was gonna come up and wait for the other public comment to just ask a separate question. It's probably of the clerk, and I apologize, I could have sent an email. I was just hoping that we would again have digital display board talking, reminding our residents about early voting. We did that last year. I wasn't sure if it was a thing that was gonna happen every year.
Oh, we're gonna put that out,
Oh, that's wonderful.
because I was gonna do a little report. It starts October 25th,
Correct.
but we'll have it out again this year.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And then just the second thing I need to address, because Mr. Kiernan does bring up a point, I was on the task force, so here with that hat on. The members of the task force had deep discussions about whether we had enough data to move forward. And so because we are not statisticians, we brought in an expert. So we had Dr. McKissick come in front of us, meet with us, and we deferred to her expertise. And I'm sure she would be happy to answer questions. We didn't record that conversation, but every member of the task force was convinced by her expertise that we had a representative sample. So I just want to encourage you, if any council member is questioning that, we could always get her to have a meeting with you or share the expertise that she shared with us. Just wanted to bring that up. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Friend. And also, to add to that, the task force members themselves represented various groups within our township that was a larger body. For example, someone who represented maybe a faith-based organization. They also shared the information with their organizations. So of the members, the sampling, the information expanded beyond that. As with Ms. Friend, her Lawrence Neighbors Together is a community organization in our town that also expands out to hundreds of people. So that in itself also was part or taken into consideration in the representation of the population that we were tapping into, if that makes sense.
This is not the first time this question's come up, so thanks for bringing it up, because it's not the first time it's come up. So we had 159 responses on the survey, which again is not a large number compared to the 35,000.
31,671.
Township. So obviously the task force had questions for our expert, and she said that in surveys like this, it's not usually the number that you get so much as it is the demographic data that you get. And I think Mr. Bobbitt brought that up last time, that we were lacking in some of the demographic data. There were some constituents that were not represented. She writes, it's moderately representative, and there are also community conversations input as well, which we didn't capture in the demographics, not just the survey. I think the key feedback offered is the center should be for all Lawrence Township residents. The community should continue to be included in conversations as things move forward, show that people giving feedback were reflecting on needs of the whole community, not just themselves. So there's a little more complexity to survey research than just the number. We had, as the mayor pointed out, a lot of town leaders involved in the conversations, so they were representative of larger groups of people. And also, we were fairly representative in many categories of the demographics, but we did miss a few, including Asian and South Asian folks, so which Mr. Bobbitt pointed out. I will say that in my doctoral dissertation consisted of a sample of 123 people. It was recommended for a national award because it had national implications, with 123 students represented in my study. So you don't always have to have thousands of people involved in a study to afford to have large implications. And I think what our expert, Dr. McKillop, is saying is that the big picture items are probably pretty valid. But when it gets down to whether we should have a pool or not, probably we need more conversation about that. So I think that there's some give and take there, but I think it's a really good question, and it's not the first time it's come up. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sylvia Covers, good evening. So I was not involved in the task force for the community center, but I was asked to translate some flyers into Polish. So for those who didn't recognize my accent, yes, I'm Poland. So there was definitely big push to involve as many as possible people, as many people as possible to answer the survey. You can't force people to answer surveys. So you can't blame the task force or people who, or the mayor who formed the task force that people did not respond. We had an outreach for the master plan for the public meetings with the surveys and meetings for the master plan, and also very few people got involved in that. So I think it's not really about the task force or people who are involved in trying to putting the surveys out there. It's just I think we need to encourage more people to get involved. And how we do that, I don't know. I don't have the answer for that. I'm involved. I try to get people involved. I bring people with me to the meetings and all that. But so the question that few people answered, I know that Polish community is not very involved anymore, or we just come from our history is still there, that you don't get involved, you just be quiet and don't show yourself, right? So certain communities, language barriers, all of that, people just don't get involved. That's why you might not have the South Asians or the Polish people showing up for many things. But so that's just my input on the fact that the task force really tried to get as many people as possible in their language. And you can only lead a horse to the water, right? So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. President. And thank you for always showing up.
I just wanted to add this just for, I did forget this piece, so the recreation department did provide something. I'm sorry.
And hearing.
Oh, Ken Kieran again, sorry. They provided about 7 pages of what they thought, but from what I've seen from up there wasn't enough information or credence given to that, except some people agreed, some people didn't. I feel that they made a great presentation on how they could lead by bringing other nonprofits and working with them, but that wasn't discussed or reviewed, so I don't know. I know it was presented, but just based on just 2 sentences, some people agreed with it, some didn't. How did that factor into Dr. McKillop's formulation?
Yeah, that is more of a discussion for council to address. That part of the input.
But it was in the survey. That's why I'm saying it. So it was brought up.
You can't speak on it.
Yeah, unless
You
you're-
have to be on the record, so.
So what is brought up in here, presented, but there's only 2 sentences. Some agreed, some didn't. So the credence to what was presented was not fair evaluation of what was presented from them.
Okay, so they misunderstood you.
Sorry.
No, maybe I misunderstood you, because there was representation with recreation, we had a lot of discussion. We'll definitely add to that. Seeing no additional, public participation at this moment, we'll close for, public participation. There will be another opportunity later in the meeting. Review the agenda, again, provisions, I don't believe so, right, for agenda?
I do have revision.
Okay.
Resolutions 18H3 and H4 are bid awards.
So you want to move them
So-
to 9?
So I would like to pull them out and make them 9A and 9B. So we can, because of public participation.
So 9A.
And there will be under the Affordable Housing Rehabilitation Program.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time for me, Mr. Lewis?
18H3 and 18H4 are under resolutions and they need to be moved to awarding and or rejecting of bids. 9.
Thank you, anything else? Okay. Then if we can have an adoption of the minutes, do I have a motion for a special meeting June 5th, 2025?
Mayor,
No, we have to move the one, we have to move 9A.
Oh, I'm sorry, got it.
Somebody needs to make a motion.
If we can have a motion to amend the agenda.
Mayor, I'll make an emotion to agenda amended to.
Gotcha. Okay. Go ahead.
I'll try this again. I will make a motion to move 18H3, number, authorizing the award of contract to Master Build and Design for Lawrence to perform rehabilitation on 351 Fontaine Lane, as well as move 18H4, authorizing award of contract to Sylvia, my apologies, Nedu Painting and Remodeling LLC to perform rehabilitation at 742 Skirton Avenue. Move those from resolutions to number 9, awarding and rejecting the bids, making H3 now A, 9A, and making H4 now 9B.
Thank you. Thank you, do we have a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Ms. Cetus,
Yes.
Mayor Burns.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Mayor. I'll make a motion to move 8A, special meeting June 5, 2025.
Second.
Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Ms. Cetus,
Abstain?
Mayor Burns.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to move 8B, regular meeting June 17, 2025.
Second.
Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Perry,
Yes.
Ms. Cetus,
Abstain.
Mayor Burns, Mayor Burns.
Yes.
Mayor, I will move 9A. 9A, authorizing award of contract to Master Build and Design for Lawrence to perform rehabilitation at 351 Fontaine Lane.
Second.
Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt,
I'm sorry.
oh.
Public participation. Are there any questions from the public? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt.
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki.
Yes.
Ms. Perry.
Yes.
Ms. Zeta.
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes.
Mayor, I'll move 9B, authorizing award of contract to Sylvia Nedu Leku Painting and Remodeling LLC to perform rehabilitation at 742 Puritan Avenue.
Second. Is there any public participation on this item? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt.
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki.
Yes.
Ms. Perry.
Yes.
Ms. Zeta.
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. Okay, now for the introduction of ordinance, first reading.
I would like to make a motion for 10A, ordinance number 250025. Ordinance providing for sidewalk improvements in and by the Township of Lawrence and County of Mercer, New Jersey, appropriating $29,588.85 therefore, and directing a special assessment of the cost thereof.
Second. Any additional information?
This is a part of our sidewalk improvement program where residents, property owners can opt into the program. And this $29,588.85 is an appropriation, meaning they will eventually pay that over the program terms, period of 5 years, interest-free. More people should take advantage of it.
Yeah. Any additional comments? Okay, if we could call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt.
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki.
Yes.
Ms. Perry.
Yes.
Ms. Zeta.
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes.
I'll move 10B, ordinance number 2501-25, an ordinance to vacate, release, and extinguish any and all dedication of public rights in or to certain portions of Haveson Avenue, adjacent to Block 302, Block 2, Township of Lawrence, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey.
So this is from time to time, paper streets in Lawrence Township. They are a part of the original master plan where there was an intention to build a street. That street was never built, so they remain on the plan, but as a paper street. And from time to time, if there is determined to be no need to retain these or no prospective need to create a street, adjoining property owners. Okay. Yes, I'm done. Adjoining property owners asked the township if they could acquire the paper street and add it on to their property. There's a process that needs to take place where notice is provided to the adjoining property owners. That notice did go out and there was no response. We do have one property owner, the owner of Harney's Corner Auto Body, that is interested. And because the other party expressed no interest, that entire paper street would be transferred and become a part of the township's tax rolls.
Tax roll, right? And paper, meaning basically the street is listed on
It's just
paper.
on paper.
That's what that means, okay, but, okay, we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Mr. Bobbitt.
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki.
Yes.
Ms. Perry.
Yes.
Ms. Zeta.
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes. Okay, adoption of ordinances, managers report.
Two things. The first is that we have did the advertising for the open position for deputy municipal manager, and I received about 20 applications and resumes. I'm going through them, and I anticipate contacting to interview several of the more qualified individuals, and we'll start that next week. I'll keep you informed along the way. And the other thing that I want to say, I want to work with the clerk with regard to the hearing impaired woman that came here. We talk about the different devices that now are available through AI. I feel like there's an opportunity for us to be completely ready should someone hearing impaired show up without prior notice. And I'm going to explore those issues with the clerk over the next couple days, and we'll reach out to the state entity that's involved in that, and we'll see where if we can get some good guidance on that, so this does not happen again. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I could ask
Yeah.
one question of the manager? One of the things that the woman brought up was just her feeling that we weren't being sort of, up to state standards and stuff. Is there, I would hope that during this conversation about the hearing portion for our meetings, that maybe you could also have our ADA director as well, to just, and maybe the township attorney as well, just to make sure that we're complying with all state and federal laws.
So as you know, we just appointed the ADA
Understood.
coordinator, and I know for a fact that Greg has done his survey of all the buildings. He's meeting with ADA coordinators to get an understanding of what other towns are doing. You know, there's surrounding towns that we're all getting on board with this now. There's a class that I know Greg is gonna be taking that's run by the state that will provide assistance on what systematically we need to do. And I will be meeting with our police chiefs tomorrow to discuss some of the concerns that the individual expressed. So we're on notice. We've been working to get it done, and we're gonna have to give it our full attention.
Wonderful, thank you.
If I could just mention also, the reconfiguration of this room also was done to be ADA compliant. The reason why we took on this project was just one of the specific reasons was for that as well. More mobility. Okay, so thank you. Thank you for looking into that and addressing it. Attorney's report?
Yes, Mayor, we will have an executive session following our regular meeting to discuss matters on litigation involving the township's fourth round obligation, some certain real estate matters involving open space, and possible potential land acquisition, and certain personnel matters, which will be covered, as I say, in executive session. The other, I'll call it matter that's come up is it's apparent that by the time of the next meeting, both Mr. Nerwinski and I will not be in New Jersey. He's going to Italy. And whether or not we can, since Mr. Nerwinski and I have reviewed what possibly would be on that agenda, there's nothing in terms of any immediate financial ordinances or resolutions coming up that could not wait, and whether or not you wanted to possibly cancel that meeting and go to the next meeting, which would be November 6th, which is a Thursday, which is normally, obviously, we meet on Tuesday, but that's election day, so we normally move, and we have moved that meeting to November 6th, so it's really, I can have, Mr. Tyler Newman here in my place, but that's an issue or question we thought we should address to council today, and just bring it up.
The other issue is if we push it 1 week into the last week of October, that's like a week before the next meeting.
Right.
So, and the sunshine notice issue presents a problem, as we discussed with our clerk. So, and I've confirmed with our CFO that we have nothing that presents us with an issue where we needed to have that second meeting. But if I'm not here, the world does not stop, it could go on.
You can Zoom from.
And, I could Zoom from Italy if that's.
Good for you.
So we're saying I don't think it doesn't present an issue for the functioning of our government if this was canceled and we pick back up November 6th.
Okay. We can hold the council. I know I would love to have a working session and give us an opportunity to have some conversation as a council. But that can be. Should we do a polling of the council now? Would that be appropriate? Okay, so we'll make a motion for those who would not move forward with having a meeting at our next meeting, which, the date, I'm sorry, is escaping me.
It's the
21st.
Okay, October 21st. If Madam Clerk, if you could just poll the council, with a yes or no for October 21st meeting. Maybe here by myself.
Mr. Bobbin?
Either way.
Okay, I'll take that.
I could do that.
I'm gonna take it, yeah.
It's-
Keep going.
Mr. Kanaki? Ms. Berry?
No.
Ms. St. Joseph?
No.
Mayor Farmer?
Yes.
So are we having a meeting? Or is
Three to two.
Can I change my vote?
No. It'll be brief and it'll may just be a subject.
So what is the
What
decision?
is-
So
We will have a meeting and we'll need an attorney.
We don't have to decide now.
We
No, listen, if the need arises over the next couple days, we have a meeting. This is just an open discussion.
Yes, right, it'll be an open discussion, so we can, provide for an attorney.
Oh, yeah, I could ask, I could ask one here.
Okay. And if the public wants to attend, you're welcome. It will be, a light agenda, and we can maybe have more conversation. Okay.
So we'll have.
Wonderful. Okay, so now that brings us to the clerk's report.
Very good. All right. So as you know, in-person early voting will start on October 25th through November the 2nd. And then we will, of course, November 4th, it will be the election day. So it is coming very fast, so we're getting ready for that. Also, the ballot box is open for all that. And then, let's see what else I have. I want to also, as you see this room, this beautiful room here, I want to thank our manager when I posted to him, and this was collaborative. And I can't thank him enough for it was all of us, our public works department, for all the work they did to freshen this room up, to make it a beautiful room to come into, nice and clean and representative of what Lawrence is, So I hope you all like it. I am very happy with it, so. And our public works, like I said, our manager and our public works, they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know that Kevin specifically was involved with chair selection.
And Peter with the money. And Peter with the money.
This is a high pressure situation.
Yeah.
You did a wonderful job. I know I came to do a wedding one day and I think the ceiling was already being torn apart and benches were out either, so, kudos, absolutely, our public works department, and with the guidance of, our town manager and the CFO, who wrote the checks. So.
Yeah, our public works, they, save a lot of money, they do a lot of the labor.
Public work that's on.
Yeah.
They're great.
And everything else was off the state contract, so
Mhm.
we were able to do that. We got a lot done with not a lot of money.
With the lowest bidder.
Okay. All right, so that's our quick, unfinished business. Anything unfinished that we need to discuss? Okay. Old business, council discussion on the coming fire study, the RFP and selection of the consulting firm. Councilwoman Perry.
So, just to recap, because it's been some time, the three selections that we, came down to were CGR, their consulting firm, headquartered in Rochester, New York. Some of the things that we did like with them was the fact that, one, they have had several similar projects in New Jersey. They are a nonprofit, and their staff was award-winning and extremely qualified. The second bid was H2M Architectures, who are headquartered in Wall Township. Again, experienced with the need and that we have requested, and they have done similar municipality management here in New Jersey. And the third was CPSM, Center for Public Safety Management, which is headquartered in Washington DC. We were very impressed with the expertise of some of the projects that they have done up and down the East Coast. All three proposals were given to council to review. The subcommittee feels that the best option would be to go with CGR. We had not discussed this or brought it to council prior to tonight because we wanted to confirm that all the bids were still valid. All of them were continuing to honor the bids that they had submitted originally with their first proposal, except for CGR, which increased the bid by 3%, which came out to be from $57,000 to $58,700. At this time, based on what you've reviewed, does anyone have any additional questions?
Yeah, I have a few questions. Has this, I know the subcommittee reviewed this and worked with you, Councilwoman, but had the Public Safety Committee ever had a chance to look at this, or did the subcommittee, I'm just asking sort of the steps and sort of the rating and everything else, right?
We presented to the Public Safety Committee, the matrix that we used, and also the report that was given to us, that we created. So they did have ample information to review. There was no comment or anything else.
So they looked at these bid proposals?
Yes.
Okay. And then another question I had, and thank you for sharing the rubric, because I was just curious about, I guess you're saying CGR is the one, so I don't really need to worry about H2M?
No.
Only because they had sort of a similar ranking to a couple other consultants, and I was curious about that.
I did like the structure of CGR's project management compared to H2M. That was one thing I really liked. Their process.
And then I'm just trying to understand, I'm trying to understand sort of the process. When we got these bids back in January, correct? And so it's coming before us now. Was there much conversation, much debate,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so.
So as if you remember, the first step was that we sat down and reviewed. The main reason that the council created the committee was to see if there's a need for consolidation, what the location was, and what would be the process. And we have had several surveys done prior, but we felt that it was needed for us to go to bid for a survey. Because before it was assigned versus bid. And the biggest difference with that is that different organizations present to us so that we can understand what their expertise are, what their experience is, and if they would be a good fit for our township. So as I mentioned before, the experts that were on the Public Safety Committee, myself not an expert before or now, I know a lot more than I did 6 months ago, but we had a security safety expert, Mr. John Clark, who's here in the audience. We had Chief Nagy, who is part of the volunteer crew. We did have a firefighter as well, Mike Radcliffe. We did have a volunteer firefighter who has served, Ron Dominski. And most importantly, the expertise of our director of EMS. So they had the institutional knowledge of our township better than anyone else could. I myself just facilitated the conversations with the assistance of our township attorney. So we started off by discussing the fact and the matter we will put together. A, what makes sense as far as consolidation? What makes sense as far as the proper model for our township? And then we went from there. All of us received all 7 bids to review and individually came back and we debated. And how they came back and debated is that with the expertise of two of our firefighters, we created a rubrics. So the rubrics basically explained what would be the formula to choose the right company. So using that, that's how we got from 7 to 3. Now, we presented to the safety committee the rubrics and our outline of each of the companies, what was good, what was bad, so that they could review and come back and comment. When they reviewed everything, there was no, people were in agreement, there was no comment, yay, nay, or they didn't like the idea. But as per Councilman Kanaki, he wanted to make sure, which I understand, that they knew what was going on and they understood how we got to our decision. From there, we presented all 3 to council to review so that they could understand how the subcommittee got to the decision. Now, we did not take lightly that a lot of the experts that were here that explained everything in their packets, one of the main things is if you're in a corporate setting or any type of business, presentation and also explanation is extremely important. We had a couple companies that literally gave us a stapled flyer of how their bid was. Did you choose that contractor? So, I mean, we read through it, we did the due diligence, but they were, John's laughing because, they were out. They were out. Not simply for presentation, but really just digging into it. We looked at also the experiences because there are many companies that have done work here in New Jersey who are not necessarily from New Jersey, one of which was a California-based company, okay? Now, also speaking to the experts and talking about who would know our township and how they would proceed to do the analysis that we need them to really do. Did they have to be a New Jersey base? Or how much New Jersey, hey, Jersey is unique. How much information or experience did they need of this territory to do their job properly? And we reviewed that in entirety. But most importantly, we looked at all of the components that we were asking as far as the expertise of the people who were in the company. What have they done before? What I liked about CGR is that they had at least 3 former firefighters, chiefs on their staff. They have 2 very strong analytical people on their staff. And they're a non-for-profit. So they're going to look out, in our opinion, for the best solution, not just the bottom line. So was everything done without any error? I cannot say that, but we did due diligence with the process to make sure that we can 100% justify our process and how we got to the conclusion. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll let other people speak and I'll do that. I don't want to take up all year, so.
You have as much here.
Thank you, Mayor.
You asked good questions.
So, I appreciate all that background. I'm trying to think of where I was gonna start. So, do we know what their timeline is for delivering, say if we let them go now? I know their proposal, they said they would be done in July of 2025, and that was the January.
Correct. So the timeline was, in most cases, 9 to 12 months.
Okay.
But being that we started a little later, the timeline would be revised based on when the bid goes out. So, they have all, agreed to, except for the one company, to stick to the budget. One company did want to charge us in addition, travel costs. So that was one thing that we thought was, because they were in Washington DC, so we they were like number 3 on the list. But as far as the funds and how they're gonna proceed, just think of the same timeline, just we'll push it from, if we do the bid in November, it'll be November to that time. But we will confirm that before it goes out, and not putting words in the manager's mouth, because he will be doing it, but that's basically what the process is.
I thought I'd ask, because I see people who I became sort of familiar with back in the fall of 2023. So I just trying to figure out like how much more, how long before we can kind of get a resolution on where to place this firehouse and what's next.
If that's the best model.
No, and so that leads me to the other point, is that from the Rogers report, that was done back in 2020, there were 38 recommendations about operational staffing and things like that. Are we revisiting the entire fire service, EMS service
So
again?
there were several of
That's
those.
what I wasn't sure from this about the best. It says recommend staffing requirements for both fire and EMS services with future personnel development. So if you could sort of.
Sure.
Yeah.
So those are 2 separate conversations, simply because a lot of the Rogers report recommendations were initiated and started by the fire department.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since then, there have been a lot of factors that have changed, so that is necessary 100% to be revisited. Because at that time, what the model and quantity of people servicing our fire department has skewed a bit, but in open public, I would have to have permission because I can't discuss personnel matters.
Completely understand, but thank you for your sort of openness about, because I agree in conversations I've had with members of the fire service that things have changed over the last, 5 years now. So it makes sense that you would take a look at it, so I appreciate that. Yeah, I'd just like to see it happen.
Yeah.
I think many of us would love to
Trust
start
me.
moving, so.
This dye is covering all the gray hair from all of this.
Councilman Knapp, do you have any comments? I know you served on the committee, so I didn't get.
Thank you and your committee for what you come up with. My only thing is, we had 2 studies done already. May not agree with them, but we know about manpower, equipment, and all that, what has to be done. And it's been worked on over the last probably 4 years. So we are moving forward with that. My thing would be, just tell me where the firehouse goes. I don't feel we need another complete study. I just would like to see where. And then you move forward from there. Because you got your manager, you got Jack Oakley, some of the people you said on your staff, people sitting out here can help. But let's find out just where to put a firehouse. And then let the residents know. That is, I understand what you've done, I appreciate everything you've done.
So I agree 100%, but respectfully, what I was tasked to do was to bring an objective party to clearly give the township what they asked for.
Right.
As an objective result and analysis of the right, not location only, the right model for our township. So consolidation may not be the right model for our township. So by selecting this party to do the analysis, they will give us an objective, and again, I'm just the facilitator. They will give us an objective opinion on what is the best model for Lawrence Township to have a productive, safe environment. So that's why the committee was put together and for us to present. The great thing about this is that we have different options for locations. But let us see, based on the ask of our residents, what this new company says to us. Any questions?
Can I just go back to one thing, the funding?
Because yeah, you're right, we have to decide on a location, but that also has to be what the model is going to be.
I understand what you said, what you've done. I appreciate everything. I was in some of your meetings over there. And I appreciate everything and the group that you formed to get this done. It's just, again, I would just like to see the group come in and say, North Lawrence is where it belongs. Based on looking at the area and the fastest, safest way to cover this township, all right? That's what I would like to see.
I
don't
agree
feel-
100%.
I know what you do, but I don't feel we need a full study. We already know where we gotta move, and we're moving that way. All right? We already know how many firemen we gotta hire within the next few years or whatnot down the road. Equipment, we know all that. And all they're gonna do is repeat what we know when we have two of the best people doing it for us right now.
Well, respectfully, all that we did know ever since the original survey, there are still things that need to be done.
Yes.
And they're working on it. But all the experts that worked on the subcommittee, believe it or not, did not agree with some of the things that came out of those reports. And they're the ones that are boots on the ground. So I am not the person to say, yes, this person was wrong, no, this person was right, no. But what I do know is that we're gonna do a fresh start, do it as fast as possible, and move forward. If not, just go ahead and build it where you think it should be, and let them decide whether we did the right thing.
Don't get me wrong. I support everything you've done and this group done, okay? I also talk to our professionals out there, all right? I hear what they had to say, and I know what they had to say about the study, all right? I won't repeat it, I can't. But I'm just saying, myself, I'm not speaking for council.
I know.
For myself, I would just like to see the study done of the area and say the best location, they might say Quick Ridge Mall is the best location, which traffic will be horrible,
You keep
but
throwing out these locations, I think you're influencing the.
I understand what they've done in this study.
Well, respectfully, with the discussion, again, I'm just the facilitator, with the discussion with the manager and Chief Oakley, maybe it's a two-part conversation. That the first part is that as quickly as possible, they survey and give us a decision on the location. But again, that's a conversation that is over my pay grade.
I think we said out of, Art, correct me if I'm wrong, if the CGR is looked to bid, we would still have to send it to them just to, if anything, revise it.
Yeah, what,
Because you got 3 bids here that we can't.
yeah, you're not awarding a contract tonight legally.
No.
All you're doing would be, my suggestion would be to have a motion to direct me to contact CGR to obtain the contract with all the particulars. That would then be given to council for review, modification, change, whatever you think may be appropriate, and before any vote would be taken on it. And if you want to bifurcate it into the two areas you spoke of, we could do that. So there's no definitive contract being awarded tonight, no vote on a contract, simply giving me direction to contact them and obtain the necessary legal documents to move forward. Will that be here in 2 weeks, be done in 2 weeks? I doubt it. It might be. But I think we could move quickly, and I understand your question. It's certainly a valid point and I sat through all the meetings. It was a very diligent effort with a lot of time given to this issue, because it's a critical, important issue. There's other, since those reports, the other two reports, the Rogers report, were made here in town, I'll say there are dramatic changes with regard to housing population that could be coming about in the Township of Lawrence over the next 12 to 24 months. And those things have to be now considered in this report. Otherwise, it would be folly. You'd be wasting your money, the taxpayer money. So it's a complicated issue. We know that. But I do agree that possibly a bifurcation could be available or could be possible with regard to the placement of the facility, and then other questions with regard to staffing, whatever other areas that they would go into. But there is a substantive material change in with regard to possible substantial housing stock in the township that would have a real impact on the location of it. So I think that can be addressed. That can be addressed in the contract, which we will prepare and present to council.
Can you just say, there is a difference between personnel with regards to our fire department and the physical location of the building. So, and one can happen without the other, right? So, fire personnel can,
Yeah, there's two divergent issues there.
okay. So just, wanted to make that clear. That
It's not a one piece of paper fits all here. This is gonna be I don't want to say overly complicated, but it's going to be a diverse contract with different parts, and you have to approve it. You have to approve it for form and as to the budget, et cetera. So you will have a shot to do that, and certainly they're all valid questions that are coming up tonight, because we're not going to do. I don't think we're going to do this again. So,
and in addition to that, once a decision is made, we're talking about 12 months to 14 months implementation, right?
I'm sorry?
12 to 14 months implementation.
No, not necessarily, no.
So, give that.
No.
The timeline, what you're saying.
At this time, I don't think it would be prudent to give a timeline until we review what the process is going to be, if we're splitting the bid return. So most importantly, we just have to make sure that we get it right once and for all. Not that any of the other surveys weren't valid or anything else, but the charge that I was given, I hope that everyone is satisfied with the results that we got, and that moving forward, council has the information to make the right decision based on all the information that was presented to them. And thank you for the honor of being able to work on this.
And I'll say, just one final point, in a way, trying to look at this from 10,000 feet, as to what's happening, and knowing what has happened in terms of changes to our master plan and certain things that are under discussion in the township with regard to possible housing developments. It's probably a good idea that we didn't do this report, because it would probably not be totally valid based on certain factors that we could never think of a year ago, or 6 months ago, or 8 months ago. So, I think the time is right. I think we have enough information to move forward. We can bifurcate it, and show that we have two areas of concern, and address that both in the contract and in our discussions with the vendor, and hopefully get a report that is as up to date, giving all the factors that have changed over the last few months that will possibly affect the decision making that you have to do. So.
And funding for the report is through,
I'm sorry.
the funding of the report was monies from, manager, the funding for the,
There was a $725,000 grant, I think in 2023. I think we're gonna lose that money because of the delay. So I could make a request of the DCA to see if we could get another year extension, but there's no guarantee that will happen.
what is the time frame in this?
We're well past it. We're well past it. I wanna, if you don't mind, I wanna have the conversation, and just for the record. Because we're transitioning into a different area for how this government functions. We are a council manager form of government. You appoint the manager, who's the chief executive officer and responsible for the day-to-day operations and the running of each department. In October of 2023, Jack Oakley and I made the recommendation that we needed to consolidate and we needed our own facility located at this municipal complex. That was the recommendation. That was based upon 6 years of he and I working together. I have, since 2017, if you put 30 firemen in a room and ask them their opinion on something, there will be 30 different opinions. It's just how it is. Everybody has an idea about how best to run the fire department. But this is where we're diverting as a government right now. You've kind of wrestled what is supposed to be the authority of the chief executive officer, the professionally managed government. And you're now gonna ask some consultants to direct, I don't know who, is it you or is it me, on what's the best way to create and operate a fire department. I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. This report comes back and they say A, and Jack Oakley and I say, A is not right. I don't know what happens. I don't know what so location is not, that's fine, that's a policy issue, right? I have a voice, not a vote, and I can make a recommendation to you, what I think is based upon the data where it's best located, to meet our responsibilities for public safety. So the location, I don't have a problem with. It's the looking to others to say how to run a department when you've appointed individuals to run the department. So how many different hands are gonna be involved? And, everybody goes into the subcommittee with the best of intentions, I understand that. But I'll just say this publicly, we need our own facility. We need our own facility because the 3 firehouses that we have are more than 100 years old and they don't comply with what needs to be complied with when you have a full-time career fire department, right? We need to have compliance for safety issues as well as accommodations for both genders or all genders. And we don't have that right now. So there is this pressure that's happening where the career staff wants to be further ahead than we are because their experience will change with the new facility. All of a sudden, from 12 firemen, it's gonna be 28 to 32 firemen operating out of maybe 2 facilities. There's gonna be different levels, there's gonna be more opportunities, it's gonna be more pay. So they have that idea of what they want, right? And they've been expressing that to you, I know they have. But we don't get there without a facility. And so Jack and I have been really clear. I believe the key to all of this is if we definitely need to be 24/7, 365 at the career, but also include our volunteers to continue to serve their community if they want to, for sure. But we're not gonna get there until we get a facility. And so that's what I think should be our focus, first and foremost, because I can see a pathway coming down the line where this report comes back and it's inconsistent with what whoever's sitting in my seat. It's not me, this is not a personal thing at all. But you base your decisions upon what you know to be true over 7 or 8 years of understanding where we are, where we want to be, where we need to be. So I just caution all of you, because if you don't like the way Public Works is going, do you create a subcommittee and we farm it out to a consultant to tell you how best to run the Public Works departments? I see a precedent happening here, and I'll be long gone, and I want to preserve what a council manager form of government is. And I think we're kind of going a little bit astray from that, but I've sat quietly. I want you guys to do what you need to do to feel comfortable, but I just want you to know, further down the line, that issue is going to have to be discussed. So to me, my recommendation is, let's get somebody to determine, number one, if we need a new building, which we do, that's not even a bit, and where it should go for the maximum impact towards public safety response. That's what we need, and we've needed it for a couple of years now. And I know our career firemen, I can speak for them on this issue, they're chomping at the bit. They want the experience of a professional fire department. They're waiting for it. And we need to get there sooner rather than later. And I think we can get an answer if we bifurcate it on that issue. And honestly, I will tell you, I'll be open to whatever these consultants suggest, for sure. You have to be able to be open to everything that's being recommended. So I just want that to be clear, because I'm sitting back and I'm seeing a divergence of where we should be and where we're going, and it's gonna be an issue at some point.
And the other, if I may, Mayor, to follow up, I've been a part of many studies in my other positions, many, and this is not a binding document. This does not tie your hands that if they say they want it at the Brunswick Circle, some crazy place.
He's putting in their bid.
Yeah, right. Mr. Nowinski's correct, the placement is a policy decision, but this is not a binding document. I mean, it's hopefully a staff of professionals who do this on a daily basis are going to give you their best thoughts on different issues. I think the bifurcation makes sense. We could probably get an answer on the location much quicker than anything, and then address what other comments there are, keeping in mind our form of government and the strong manager form of government that we have. So this is, and I want the taxpayers sitting here today to know that this is a tool that's being used by council and the township for hopefully, a very, very critical issue of public safety that we're hopefully not going to address again for a long time. We've got to make the right decision. And there's going to be, I'm sure, debate over items that are in it, and that's healthy and that's good. But I think as long as we realize that this is just hopefully I'll call it a professional tool that you will have to review, look at, agree, disagree, modify, whatever, and then make a hopefully a quick decision on the placement, and then move forward with the other areas that have to be addressed, given what are gonna be anticipated, changes in certain demographics and whatever in the township. So we're not binding you or anybody with this report.
Councilwoman,
Thank you. And I just want to apologize, I don't have the history that some of our other council members and Mr. Nowinski have with the other fire studies and all of the opinions that have gone into this. I come at this as sort of more with a naive perspective, the strictly procurement one. And I just wanted to say that I'm really pleased that the subcommittee chose CGR as their top choice. As a person who looks at technical proposals for a living, that was also my top choice. I did appreciate that their consulting team consisted of mostly fire and EMS professionals, which I thought was very important. But more importantly, to Councilman Kanaki's point and Mr. Nowinski's point, they were the only ones that really highlighted their flexibility in adapting the scope of work, which I think will be important moving forward. So hopefully we can find some collaboration and, with all of the background information we have already. My major question is, when can we do this? I'm like, how soon, like a date?
I mean, I'll contact them tomorrow and indicate that, there's a feeling to move forward, or there was a discussion and we want to entertain their contract, look at it. I can explain to them, some of the discussion that we had this evening. I think you're right. I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but I recall they were, I thought, the most flexible of all the proposals, and in a way, professional. I thought they were very professional, and indicate that, we're most concerned about the time constraints here. There's a feeling that we may need to bifurcate certain parts of it and indicate that we need to have a more definitive timetable and a contract as quickly as possible. I think we'll get it, pretty quickly. That they don't need to reinvent the wheel here for Lawrence Township. So they'll probably send me their what it looks like contract, and we'll have to massage it and modify it and indicate our concerns and share that certainly with the manager and hopefully move forward. Can we have it within 2 weeks? I don't know.
So the way I see it is if you all select, when I say select, you're just instructing Mr. Stipek to engage CGR into preparing an agreement that we could get on the agenda for the November 6th meeting. That, for me, will help us when we appeal to the DCA for our funding, saying, okay, we're good now, we've got this thing, because that $725,000 is for soup to nuts for the location, study, and design of a new facility, right? So we really want to save this. And I think that's the best opportunity we have, is if we are able to vote on a contract November 6th, that we can then engage our state officials and say, okay, there was a little bit of an issue, we got it resolved, and we're moving forward.
And I can make it clear to the vendor that that's the time constraint. We have to have this, the back and forth, changes, whatever, in a format ready for a vote on November 6th, and that would be the timeline. That's what we'll do.
Mayor, if I could say one last thing, and direct it towards Mr. Nowinski. In phase one, I know you're concerned about sort of policy versus day-to-day operations. In phase one of project initiation, it says CGR project team will meet with township representatives and public safety committee, and we'll discuss, at this meeting, we will. And one of the things is clarify the role of township leadership and agency leaders in the study. So I hope that gives you some confidence that they will start to understand at that meeting that you are in fact the one who runs the day-to-day operations and everything else.
I mean, yeah, that's fine, and the other thing that I think that they're gonna find helpful is that these two other studies we collected data over a period of years. So they're not starting from scratch, right? And they don't have to look at whatever skewed data, they just look at the raw data. And, you know, a lot of the historical things that they would be having to come up with, it's gonna expedite their review. So hopefully that's the case.
And Mayor, one last thing, I know it's getting late, but
That's okay.
I think it'd be wise to have our CFO in those meetings as well. At least some of them.
Oh, yeah, he's gonna be.
Thanks, Mayor.
Okay, so it sounds like we have a plan.
And one last thing is, I'm glad that back in October, there was discussion of 2023 that, the council was not able to move forward for whatever reasons, because we weren't here.
Yeah.
But the manager did instruct the council, and if I'm putting words in your mouth, please stop me, to, come up with the best, you know, resolution from there. But luckily, in between that time and this time, we've come to a position that we can move forward with, that, hopefully we don't lose any grant money going forward based on what we have put together. But as the manager and all of council, we cannot make a decision that we will regret down the road.
Mayor, I think what we need to do, and I would ask that you make a motion authorizing me to engage, not to engage CGR, to contact CGR, request that we get their form contract as soon as possible. I can do that tomorrow. And upon receipt of that, you know, I can certainly distribute the initial contract and then take comments from any council members and from the manager and, you know, place them before representative CGR and tell them that we hope to finalize this, excuse me, by the November 6th meeting, and that is our timetable. And, you know, that'll be the task before me, so I would ask for that motion in a second, and we need a vote.
Okay, so we will have a motion.
You have a motion authorizing the attorney to contact the vendor CGR, request their form contract agreement, with the understanding that we wish to have all negotiations concluded and a vote would be taken with regard to this form agreement by November 6th of this year.
Okay, Madam Clerk, will you?
Need a second?
I second.
Can we have a second? 5 minutes for motion. Councilwoman Perry, seconded.
Mr. Bobbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kanaki,
Yes.
Ms. Berry,
Yes.
Ms. Sanchez,
Yes.
Mayor Farmer.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so there's some action. And, thank you for all of your work, Councilwoman Perry. And, we look forward to, moving forward. All right. Now we are public participation for 3 minutes.
And Kieran again.
Sure.
And I'm bringing this question based on my history in EMS. I've got over 5 years as a flight medic, 10 years as an EMT, both paid and volunteer, including per diem in Lawrence Township. So you had stated that we're looking for a location. When I asked about this last year, a single location was not ever confirmed. At least Mr. Dolinsky said we're not sure if it's going to be 1 or 2. But when you look at a single location versus across this township of 22 miles, what is the actual coverage and the speed to coverage within there? Has there been any precedent within this state of a town our size that one station can cover it adequately? There is not one other township in this state of this size that has a single house to house fire trucks.
I can tell you that it was never a single station. It was never, we were gonna retain at least one, if not more.
And I think that's basically what the study is supposed to reveal to us.
Understood, but everything was station, single, not plural in this conversation.
Well, 3 exist.
Yes,
Township owns 1
yes.
of the 3. And then the one that was the subject of discussion was the one that we would build, that would be township owned. So I think that's what
I just want clarity, because there's going to be people that are going to be complaining that there's only one, including paid and volunteer fire people,
Now,
and the people that are served on that area.
And the other thing that I want to make clear to everybody here is that there is a marked difference between a volunteer fire force who is at home or at a restaurant or wherever, fire is called, then they gotta get in their car, they gotta go to the fire station, they gotta get dressed, and they gotta get on an apparatus, right?
Absolutely.
Versus a career fire staff that is there at the facility, ready to rock and roll as soon as the thing happens. So that's where the coverage, so that's where our 22 square miles,
Right.
that's where this study will tell us what's the standards from the fire call to arrival on the scene, and that location will dictate what we need to be able to meet that as a career fire.
Understood.
Yeah.
And we have to
Much
incorporate our volunteers are our core to grow into that.
Yeah.
How do we
There's no doubt
keep
about it.
those volunteers to come up so we can incorporate them in the paid in the long term? That's a bigger question. going forward.
Volunteers have been an incredible asset to this community for a very long time.
And
Understood.
there's no communication in what we discuss about getting rid of volunteers. So
And again, I know,
Don't
my question was, you had mentioned station as a singular, and you clarified that it may not be one, but I just want to make sure, because stating that is going to cause a lot of consternation against a lot of people within those 3 departments coverage of who's going to be served best and who's going to lose that coverage. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Clark. I'm a former U.S. diplomat. I've served in several crisis zones and locations. I'm a resident of Lawrence Township. I wanted to thank Councilwoman Olympia for her leadership in creating the subcommittee. I think that expertise is very important. And I also wanted to thank our lawyer for serving on that committee as well. I couldn't agree more that there is a need for multiple opinions and expertise when we're talking about multi-million-dollar investments concerning public safety. I've worked on evacuations and public safety support of firefighters from Los Angeles for the Mexico City earthquake in 2017. I've worked on responses to Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, and I've also worked on crisis management in Haiti, Libya, and a few other countries. When we talk about natural disasters and the increasing frequency with climate change, there's an increasing risk of high-powered tornadoes and other disasters impacting one area. So it's really a higher risk when we consolidate all of our public safety responders, our first responders and our EMS in one part of the city. I think also when you look, as Mr. Kieran spoke on, the 22 square miles of Lawrence Township, as well as the high traffic frequency at rush hour on 295 and Route 1, and when you look at 206, if anyone's been on 206 on a Thursday or Wednesday at 7:30 or 8 in the morning, it's nearly impossible. So you really need multiple locations, you need multiple areas where our firefighters, our EMS can respond, and we want to make sure our times are as rapid as possible. So I'm very glad that we've done this study. I think it's important to have as much information as possible when we're making these decisions. And so that is all I really want to say. And I think consolidation is something we should seriously reconsider in light of these natural disasters, in light of these traffic patterns, and in light of the growing needs of our city. As the lawyer properly stated, we are expecting a population influx. So we want to make sure that the highest density areas of our city are covered. And as we all know, the area by 206 and over here is one of the lowest density areas of the entire town, and also one of the areas with the least flammable buildings and industrial sites. So that's all. Thank you.
Mayor, if I could just say one thing, I think Mr. Clark points out the challenge to us when we get the study back, that not everyone's gonna be happy, and we're gonna have to understand, navigate that, so. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Robert Gordon-Smith, and we've been 15 years here in this lovely township, which we really do love. And echoing John a little bit, when we got a bit more involved in this, it was because we didn't really know what was going on. And I really commend this council for spending the time to do the study. I know Mr. Kevin over there says, I'm the CEO. I can do what, he's been very good about it, so I'm not trying to be negative here. But
It seemed negative.
yeah. Sorry, Kevin, sorry, Mr. Kevin. But I felt a little bit not knowing. And I know I'm not the council or Mr. Kevin or the lawyer, but it was very helpful to feel now, and Councilwoman and Ms. Berry did a great job just explaining what she's done and how she thought about it. And I know this may be the third report, but as our lovely lawyer there just said, this is great. Jim, it's great you didn't do it, because of all this influx of people. We would be nuts to go ahead and have done it when all this new information came about. So now we're here, we know the influx of likely residents into this township, and it will allow us taxpayers to feel the council is actually on top of it and talking out and hearing different opinions. That is absolutely great. And again, I really want to thank Ms. Mayor and the group, the subcommittee, for doing all that work. And it's a multi-million-dollar investment that we're going to do here for this township. So I commend what has happened. I commend it. And I like the fact there's a professionalism of discussion. I'm not saying the CEO and everybody wasn't professional. I'm sure they were. But we've added, from the taxpayer's point of view, from my point of view, you heard us and said, we're worried. Sorry, we're worried. Please look at it. And you have. So thank you. Now, what I would like, once you've decided who this consultant, that we do get maybe a little bit of feedback. Oh, we are going to do 2 or whatever we decide to do. And I do, Mr. Lovett, agree. We're not all going to agree, but I feel this process is what's needed, and we shouldn't be upset with it. It's a multi-million-dollar investment, and I'm happy for it. So please, if you come back with the feedback, we're going to do this, and then talk to us in front of all of us and say, this is what we do, and then we can say, I don't quite like that, and just talk about it. We may not get agreement, and you may just go, we've gone this way, but this participation will allow us to feel comfortable with the decision, and then it'll be a solid decision. If everybody's grumbling, oh, Mr. Kevin did this, or Mr. Jim did this, or whatever you did, oh, I did this, I don't want to exclude you, but yeah.
I appreciate that.
No problem. So I think that will make us feel comfortable, and even if it's a decision that we get grumpy about, then okay, but we'll move forward. And I think if the decision is, we're going to move it in this location, Quaker Bridge, I think was the suggestion. If you're going to say, we're going to do this Quaker Bridge, then, will there be extra insurance? We need to think about, are people around that will, us house owners, we're gonna have to pay more insurance. So I would like the consultant to review all that sort of stuff for our benefit. But again, I don't think makes me feel much more comfortable with what decisions you're coming about. And that's very, very important for this township, a multi-million investment. I think that's the right thing. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So you kind of described a democracy. That's what we're doing. Thank you. All right, we see no additional public participation at this time. We will close public participation. And now we are into our resolution.
Mayor, if I may, move them as a block?
There's no objection?
All right, I see everyone nodding their head. I'll move resolutions 18A1 through H2, then H5 through H8 in a block.
Second. Okay, there's a little to catch up.
And as a reminder, 18H3 and 4 will move to 9 as bids.
As amended.
General Leon here, I love that. Okay. Okay, having a motion, do we have a second?
Yeah. Want to call the roll?
Please call the roll.
Mr. Raleigh?
Yes.
Mr. Cannavy?
Yes.
Ms. Terry?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Mayor Parton?
Yes. Council initiatives and liaison reports. Who wants to go?
I have just a brief one. The Environmental Green Advisory Committee is, they have a subcommittee that they've formed looking at turf, the use of turf within the township. So they are taking a look at the impacts of using artificial turf within the township, of the heat island effect, as well as sort of disposal, the fact that you can't really recycle it, from what I'm learning.
Yeah.
And so they're putting that together, and it's one they will bring it to me, and then I'll bring it to you all to take a look at. I've told them to keep it very fact-based and sort of action-oriented in terms of what opportunities are and things like that. So stay tuned.
I love it. I love that. Subcommittee getting involved. Pretty good.
Did it on their own.
Oh, yeah.
They had some passionate people on the committee who wanted to look at it, so.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And it's very timely. Okay.
Madam Mayor, I just wanted to give a report on an event coming up from the economic development, growth and economic development. On Wednesday, October 15th, we will be having a job and networking event at the senior center from 5:15 to 7:30. We've invited speakers to come out and help with small businesses as they're growing. One of the main speakers is going to be the Director of Economic Development for Mercer County, Anthony Carabelli. And also we have some small business owners who will be speaking. So if you know any small businesses that want to come out, showcase, and also mingle and network, please tell them about it and let them know. The other thing, Madam Mayor, if I may make the liberty, this Saturday is the International Day of the Girl. It's a great opportunity to celebrate young women in our community. And there is a big event at the Foundations Academy from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. Now, it's not our township, but it's great to see that Mercer is celebrating our young women. So please come out and support. The last thing I want to mention is, unfortunately, there was a dear member of our community who passed away recently, And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that she was a model of community service. She worked with Women's Space, which is one of the, I wish we didn't have to have it in this township, but is one of our jewels because of the work that they do. She was a board member, Minister Lorraine Williams Burnett. She also served in other services such with the her home front, Shiloh Baptist. She had been a resident for 37 years here in Lawrence Township. So I love that we have this type of person in our community, and she is not only unique, but also a foundation of what Lawrence is made of. So we hope to celebrate her life on Thursday, October 9th. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilman Kaneki, no? You did.
The senior center last week had the 34th anniversary.
Yes.
And I was there to get it kicked off, but throughout the day, they had other stuff. I forget who the main speaker was coming, they had a speaker coming, they were dancing. I saw somewhere in the video. I was there at 10 when it kicked off, or 9:30, and helped them get everything. And what you do is tell the seniors there's free food and they come out.
They have a lot of fun, they have a lot of fun there with the seniors. How would you have to be
The energy with all of them.
And also, the recreation department did an outstanding job with community day this past year. So that was a really nice turnout.
Beautiful.
Okay. I have a few things. I wanted to, I know that the task force has been here for the community center, and I just wanted to touch base with council to make sure that everyone has read the report, and if there are any questions, to please, reach out with those, because we owe it to our community to give them a timeline of when we are gonna make a decision, with regards to the use of the center or the direction that we're gonna go in. So I just wanna make sure that council, understands and, makes provides information, feedback back to the community, because there are a lot of questions around, a timeline of when we're gonna do things, so I wanted to just, make sure, that, if everyone's read the report and if there are any questions. I know it's pretty lengthy and detailed, so, alright. The other thing is, the Louisville Road marker, this was a week ago, had, a tremendous event at the Lawrenceville School. If you all recall, that is the historical marker that's on Louisville Road, just off of Franklin Corner Road. There was a symposium that was held, really well attended. Again, it was in partnership with the Historical Society of Lawrence, Lawrence Township Public Schools, the Lawrenceville School, the Presbyterian Church of Lawrenceville, our Lawrence Township historian, I think that, and Lawrence neighbors together, came together and did a symposium with the living residents, descendants of the enslaved people on Louisville Road. So it is going to become part of the documentation of our town for its historical effect. And there is a third part to all of this, which will gather the information again for the historical purposes. What else? As was mentioned earlier, the planning board met last night, did a quite lengthy meeting. So 10, pushed right up to the the first 10, with the 10-15, I really argue members. But as was mentioned, there is questions with regards to the master planning and updates. Wanting to get back to the public to let you all know that we are still working on the master plan. However, as was mentioned, we do have a housing plan, which is taking precedence. And the discussion and the challenges, along with what that entails for our town. So, just want, the public to know that we are still moving forward, just that the housing plan that we are currently working on, along with, the challenges that, present us, that we, legally we need to abide by. So just want to do that. Trails and Open Space is going to be hosting a walk, in the next week along the Bossio Salt, Preserve. So if any members of the public are interested in joining us, I can share more information. It should be on our website. And they continue to ask me about Colonial Lake and the sidewalk. And when that development happens, making sure that there is a good buffer and safety for the construction. Community Day, again, that was a fantastic, organized recreation committee did an outstanding job as always. It was very nice to see our community come out and just, belong. It was really nice. I think everybody in this room probably was there. Let's see. I wanted to mention to Kevin, just the parking lot improvements. I know we funded that, what was that, last year? And now to see what it really could, yeah.
It was a long road to get there,
Yeah.
wasn't it? That bond ordinance.
But that's smooth, yeah. So just want to thank you, and I know your committee, yeah. And your staff, because I know you were involved. I think we did that, right?
No, it was contracted.
Oh, contracted, but I saw a lot of our trucks out there, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for that. I hope you all also appreciate the smoothness. Okay, there was just one thing I wanted to, a story I wanted to share. I had a resident call me, about, wanting me to make sure to thank our police department. There was an incident with an individual. I know we always hear those gray alerts where people are missing or disoriented, and you just never know, what can happen. And this resident shared with me how there was a gentleman who was very disoriented, apparently had come all the way from Ohio and was lost on Route 1 near the Chick-fil-A. And a resident of ours reached out to our police department and called them, and they were there within minutes, like probably 4 minutes, and helped this gentleman who, like I said, was very disoriented, was from Ohio, and didn't know where it was. And I just want to thank publicly our police department once again, who does an outstanding job in our community, listens to our residents, and is on the job and, shows up. And, we all read those gray alerts and we never think that, it could affect one of us. So I just wanted to share that story, and thank again our wonderful police department and for helping out our residents. Okay, I think that's all I have. There's some written communication, actually starting fresh, that just came in this morning. I'll start with that. As you all are aware, we are in conversations with our fellow municipalities and mayors with regards to Trenton Waterworks, and which, just so you know, it's Hamilton Township, the city of Trenton, Ewing Township, Lawrence Township, and Hopewell. So we're all in communication with one another, and there have been some concerns, and we've had meetings, and just as a point of keeping you all abreast of what is transpiring, and like I said, this is communication that came in today, and I think if you all indulge me, I think it's worth reading. Okay. So it's from our other township of Hamilton. This is, I can read this one.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're involved in litigation on this. I reviewed the letter and
Let me
it
take, let me
doesn't,
take a moment, yeah.
it really does not go into any specific part of the litigation. It's really, you know, one mayor's request to the Trenton City Council, with regard to a ad hoc committee. I can summarize it if you want.
Sure, I'll let you, sorry, you keep me out of trouble.
It was from, as the mayor indicated, Jeff Martin, the mayor of Hamilton Township, the Trenton City Council, who has a city council meeting tonight, and one of the resolutions, there's more than one, I think, but one of the resolutions involving Trenton Waterworks was to create an ad hoc committee of the 3 city council members to address issues relating to the Trenton Waterworks. And he indicates that that one of the resolutions acknowledged the Trenton Waterworks as a regional public water utility, and he was happy that it was so designated. However, his concern was, a couple of concerns was that since it is a quote regional public water facility, he really wanted to have representation by the other municipalities that are involved. Obviously, Lawrence, Ewing, Hopewell, and thought that the committee should be expanded. He also indicated that he attended the Zoom conference where the DE commissioner came before the council on August 1, and indicated that he really felt that there was a feeling that the city council was against creating a regional utility, but he thought that adding a representative from each municipality would help with transparency and oversight in that decision. Second resolution would authorize spending Trenton Waterworks funds for a 3rd independent assessment of the Trenton Waterworks, and he basically criticized that, indicating that he thought that they had studied it in essence enough, and quoted the former director, Steve Pico, who's now a consultant to the city Trenton Waterworks, as to how the finances are in a haphazard state. They have trouble keeping qualified personnel. Equipment has been insufficiently addressed for the last 20 years. And he said instead of spending the money on the 3rd report, which will at best contradict 2 other independent reports, they should spend the money on the necessary items of the Trenton Waterworks. So that's in a nutshell, what the good mayor addressed to the Trenton City Council. I'll be shocked if they do anything that he wants, but I think there's some sound logic here as to the request, especially trying to move forward with some regionalization plan. It's been a long battle, and I've been trying to keep track of what's happening in the litigation, which is going very slow. And I can say this, we don't need an executive session for this, that they're finally getting into a discovery phase of it. I've talked to our attorney who's handling it, and gave him certain thoughts on it, and we may have more to report. I think we may have more to report on this before the end of the year into some possible resolution of this through legislative action, but we'll, as they say, stay tuned. So that's basically the gist of the letter and update on the litigation.
Okay. Just as, we're all still engaged and we're still talking, we're having conversations among municipalities and the city.
Yeah,
That's good.
Definitely communications, which is good.
And the word regional public water utility was mentioned, so that's a plus.
Yep.
All right. New Jersey League of Municipalities, we have, for all of us, enclosed the league's annual audit statement covering the league's financial activities for the fiscal year just closed July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. If you have any questions about the league's finances, do not hesitate to call me. Sincerely, Michael F. Sarah, Executive Director. We have a thank you note. Dear council members, thank you for the beautiful flower arrangements and for your thoughts and prayers during this difficult time for our family, the Nowinskis. Okay.
So just a quick communication, the community well will be holding a luncheon for civic wellness. And the key speaker will be our mayor, Mayor Patricia Farmer. The event will be on October 30th from 12 to 1:30 at 2688 Main Street at the Chambers Walk.
All right, is there anything else? Any communication? No? Madam Clerk, right? I think I covered everything. That's it, right? Okay. All right, this brings us to our executive session. This is where we thank the public for attending tonight's meeting and engaging with us. Seeing democracy at work. I thank you for spending your time with us this evening and your input.
I'll